Sparkz, Spiro Book Club.
Yeah, hi.
We're
talking about a French comic piece called Halloween Tales by OG. I am so sorry. I tried to figure out how to pronounce this, and I could not find an official pronunciation. I'm pretty sure because it's French, it's Boiscommun.
There you go,
Boiscommun. And DP Filippi. I really enjoy this in the sense of I think it's a really nice mood piece. I think that there is an amount. Okay, so behind the table basketball, I've had this for a while. I've considered doing it on previous Halloweens, and I've decided not to because I'm like, I know it's super kiddie, and it is. It's very child oriented. That's the target audience for it. But I think that I think the art is gorgeous. I just want to get that out of the way. I think the art is absolutely incredible. And I do fear, and I've read a little bit that like some things are probably lost in translation, especially in the first issue where it's all turned into rhyming. That it's just not the level that it is if you read it in French.
Sure.
Which I totally understand, but I still think like it's just a nice Halloween mood piece about like different versions of coming of age things. And I think it's really interestingly crafted. And I particularly am always floored by the third one and how it ends. But I'm really enamored with the art. I think it's a nice little short piece for us to
anthology.
Discuss. Yeah, I wanted to share it with you guys because I like that there's different comic stuff in the world, and this is one of those.
I'll go first, Sparkz. I really enjoyed this a lot. Nice. I when you say like you described it as like kitty, and like I my first thought wouldn't be that. I think it's like, but I guess it is. It's like it is young. It's for youth. Like it's written for youth. But like, I love that first story, dude. Like I do too. I like all of them. I think the second is my least favorite. But one, like it's just Etrigan the Demon being a good brother to his sister who misses him. Right. And it's like that first one really spoke to me because it's just like it's this person tackling all of their insecurities now that the person who they love most and helps them is gone, and like how do they deal with everything under the bus? They talk about everything, like, oh, what if I do this? What if I do this? What if I like this? And like he has a rhyme and a reason for everything, and it's like really, really sweet. I loved it. I had a great time with this, and you're right, the art is scrumptious. It's delightful.
Real quick, all of the art is by Boiscommun. The story for the first two is also by him. The story for the third is by DP Filippi.
Nice.
Cool. So most of this is Oliver's work.
Good job.
Yeah.
Ben?
I also had a really good time with reading this book. I also want to echo what Ryan said. I don't see it as kiddie, but this is definitely a good mood setter because growing up in one of my favorite like aesthetics for Halloween is like, yes, I like the black, I like the darkness, but at the same time, I like the spooky stuff by, I guess what people are calling it now is the spoopy stuff, where it's like you have
it's almost like wholesome.
Yeah, it's wholesome scary, but it's not like when you go. It's like when you go into a Spirit Halloween story and then you get like the hardcore blood, like the gorish stuff, like that.
It's not malignant.
Yeah, it's not that. It's like this is fun. It's kind of like like Camp Snoopy's Halloween party or Mickey's Halloween party. It's stuff like that. That's like, yes, you got the aesthetic, you got the colors, but it's not intended to scare you. It's like, let's have fun doing it. That's how I read this book.
It's very thoughtful.
Yes, the art is
thoughtful. Halloween, not horror, but like atmosphere.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Halloween tree in a sense that
it wasn't supposed that's one of the reasons I love
it. It wasn't supposed to scare you. It was just like, hey, here's like like you said, a tone piece. Like a shot every time we say that. My favorite story in this is the last one.
Yeah,
that's my favorite story. I thought that was the best one. I like the second one a lot. The first one I also enjoyed, but the second one I also highly enjoyed because I just love the color pieces and it reminded me a lot of Dracula, the original Dracula, the film Dracula. Because I just I like how it went from we get beautiful colors in the first one, and then the second one it's all black and white. I was like, this is like, and you get a kid with a bat, and it's like this is Dracula, even though it's not. And then of course the last one, I really like the concept of you write in this book, and whatever you write, it's real or it happens. And
it feels very similar to a to the old horror audio adventures, Sparkz, that you used to listen to. The last one does.
Yeah. It is a lot like that for sure.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed this. This was and like we said, it's a quick read, and it was fun. I highly had a good time with this.
Nice. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, I also enjoyed this one. I'm not as hot as it on you guys, but I did really enjoy the third issue. I thought that was a good one. I
will say real quick, I think the second one is the one that suffers actually the most from translation, from what I understand.
I
bet.
The second one, honestly, in a relative term, was hard for me to get through.
Sure.
And relative to how quick and easy the others are, it's not a hard read. The second one I was hoping would be my favorite when I went into it, but it ended up being my least favorite.
Right. Yeah, I know the first one, like my understanding is that the brother's spirit is meant to be the brother's spirit is meant to be speaking in poetry, but not necessarily in rhyme. That translated out into rhyme.
Yeah.
For English.
Because English people are dumb.
Well, it's just, like what they were doing in French poetry just wasn't crossing over properly. So I'm sure like you lose some of the effect of that one in a sense, but I do think the second one is the one that struggles the most with translation.
Yeah, I had honestly a couple of times had a hard time following the second one, but the first one I never had a problem.
Yeah, I think the rhyming still works. At least it works for me again, because like the story is just it's just really beautiful. And it's just like, it's just this poor girl, like on Halloween night, it's like she doesn't want to be with anyone else because she's not feeling it because, she's got a dead brother. And it's like, he's always watching over her and it's going to be okay. Just like, instead of being negative, try to think positive. I love it.
Yeah.
She meets that bully and then he pulls his pants down.
What a weird way to bully someone.
Hey, pants.
It works.
Yeah. I think that overall it's pretty strong as just a Halloween story.
Yeah, when I looked at it, I expected Trick or Treat. So when I was 3 pages in, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a sad one. It was going to be like nice, thoughtful stuff. I'm like, oh, this is not what I expected at all. And I was very pleasantly surprised.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because the book does, like, the story on the first one does kind of like addresses like, death is seen as scary, but
it's part of life.
It's part of life. I mean, we talk about like when we say death, and there's so many different connotations to the word and to what it is. Like we picture death as like the Grim Reaper, the Scythe, or in Stepan Sedgwick's case, awesome person in Bernadette,
a babe.
Yeah, a babe.
I like that you think I wouldn't get that reference.
But when this one, I love it how it talks about death. It's like, I mean, it's a natural part of life, but it's okay for you to feel sad, but you have to go on living. Sure. I really like how like her brother's spirit is there. It's like, and she's like, oh, but what about this? Well, this, and it's like, you can feel sad. It's okay to feel sad when someone leaves, but just know I'm here. So as you guys know, I lost my grandmother, or one of my grandmothers, last year. And I unfortunately was not able to attend her funeral.
Right.
Because I had COVID. Yeah, both myself and my girlfriend had it. And that hurt because, and also it hurt because my grandmother, she was suffering from memory loss, dementia. It was really hard to talk to her. So one night, I had this, sorry, I'm going into this little tangent because I resonated with the story, but I had a dream where I was in this, like, essentially I was in a bloodborne town.
Yarnum.
Yeah, I was essentially in a Yarnum. There was a bunch of monsters everywhere. I ran inside this house and it looked a little bit like my grandmother's house. My pictures were on the wall, my brother's pictures, my family's pictures that were up in my grandmother's house. And then I see my grandmother, and of course I start breaking down. She gives me a hug, and essentially she's like, and I tell her, like, Grandma, what? She's like, I know, I love you too. And then I go outside and start kicking ass.
There you go.
So for reading the story about how she misses her brother, it kind of resonated with me with how I miss my grandma. And I had that dream where, even though I wasn't able to be there to celebrate her life and grieve properly because I was stuck at home and I wasn't able to talk to really any family members because she passed away in April and I wasn't able to see any family members at all. It was like, damn, she really is watching over me. The ones you love are watching over you. So even though that part wasn't
only if they went to heaven, though.
Even though that story wasn't necessarily my favorite, it was definitely one that I feel people should read. I mean, it might not, the poetry might not translate well, as we have said.
I didn't say it,
but it was definitely a one that got me in the feels. And it's like, death can be scary, but it's natural and it's okay to feel the things you're feeling.
Spooky.
I think that's well said of like why I think that one's really strong, especially for like youth, encountering that the way that it's articulated of moving forward but not forgetting kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's just a really thoughtful piece overall. I do think like the first and third have great promise of like their representations of really relationship dynamics. For one, it's the relationship with those who have passed, but for another, it's a relationship with like trusted friend.
Not much else. Anyone else?
I'm glad you picked it. I liked it a lot.
Oh, thanks.